Hey everyone, Harry here to talk about the latest from the New York Criminal Court, where in a matter of days a jury is supposed to be chosen. We have a what had been hidden improperly from the DA, subpoena served on Mark Pomerantz, and a motion from the DA to quash aforementioned subpoena. Okay, so remember who Mark Pomerantz is. He's one of two lead lawyers, along with a man named Kerry Dunn, who, when Bragg's predecessor, Cy Vance, was still at the head of the office, were in charge. Pomerantz, with extensive federal experience, had been brought in. He wanted to do the case, and he was there after Vance left, and there was a famous showdown meeting where Bragg basically said it's not your day, kid, and told him he was not going to bring the case, as he first decided not to. Pomerantz was out of joint about it, made barely concealed criticism of Bragg in the public eye, wrote a book, very controversially, because you're not allowed to use material that's confidential to the DA's office, and it's dubious that he skated around that. But he figured in the very much the previous decision not to go forward. Then Bragg eventually has new people on. They work things up, think they have a satisfactory theory, bring the case, and that's what's scheduled to go to trial imminently. All right, but Trump, there's an order in the case that says Trump needs to tell the DA about any subpoenas on third parties he served. Moreover, certain third party subpoenas, ones that go to government types or former government types, have to be approved by the judge. Trump did none of those things, and rather, a couple weeks ago, we learned, serves a subpoena on Mark Pomerantz asking for a lot of stuff. And it's to that the DA's office responds. There are four big clusters of requests in Trump's subpoena, but the main focus is a memo that he Pomerantz wrote in February of 21. February 28th, 2021, basically his last stand memo about doing the case. And Trump has asked for all documents around that. And, he's trying to fish for both, for a couple things. One of the requests is clearly trying to fish for discovery violations, as the DA calls it. He's looking for discovery about discovery. And then the other is, trying to find everything about these deliberations, which before resulted in no case being brought. So the DA's office first says they didn't clear this with you for that reason alone. It's invalid, and that's interesting. Often that's the kind of consideration that a judge will say, yeah, they should have, but I'll go on to other reasons why it shouldn't go forward. Pomerantz, in finding and not permitting Trump to bring his immunity motion, relied completely on this sort of procedural problem like that it was untimely, and that doesn't really give him much room. And the same thing with this on appeal. If he finds out, here was an order, you didn't do what I said, so I'm just not letting this go forward, Trump will have steam coming out of his ears. He has steam coming out of his ears all week. But that might be a pretty solid way to frame things for appeal. But more broadly, so Pomerantz himself says, I don't have anything that's responsive to what Trump has asked. When I left, I turned over nearly everything. It's pretty clear he didn't turn over everything. But then there was another round where he turned over to the DA's office some more stuff, and the DA's office said, "Look, whatever they're asking for, we've given them most of it because we had it in our possession." And the other things that they're looking for, Pomerantz himself says, he doesn't have anything. So really, this is the null set that they're searching for. Moreover, they point out in the case when Trump did this with Cohen, Michael Cohen, they seem to be looking for ways to sort of intimidate him, and the DA advises the court you should enter the same sort of order, not letting that happen with Pomerantz as you didn't let it happen with Cohen. Speaking of Cohen, the court's already quashed 3 subpoenas to Cohen, and they're very similar. So the first point out of the box by the DA, the first point is they didn't get your approval. They have to. So it's, it's just no good. Rules is rules. But then second is it's the same thing as with Cohen. You quashed, and you should do it here also. In addition, it's what they're asking for is overbroad, and they haven't really shown it's relevant. And that's should be a big problem here generally. What is the relevance of the internal deliberations before a previous U.S. attorney that arrived at a different result? Why should the Trump be able to introduce that in front of a jury as a defense to the charges that have now been brought? The short answer is he shouldn't be able to, and he needs to defend against the charges that are already there. So again, along the lines of what I just said, you've already ruled, court, says the DA, that they can't introduce into evidence Pomerantz's views of the prosecution. So this subpoena that's looking to him for documents, to the extent it's just trying to get at that's an end around that he can't do anyway. Again, Pomerantz says he has nothing. So quash, give you many reasons, and we'll see what Merchan does, but it's unlikely. Whatever he does, I think he will not permit the trial to be delayed. So, even if he says, well, you can get these 2 documents or whatever, or they could be relevant, or we'll rule on it later. What Trump is trying to do, which is stop the music, I think will not happen. They do finally, after going through all the arguments, say, by the way, if you're going to let anything happen, and order Pomerantz to enforce the subpoena to the extent of having a few documents turned over, please let us look at those documents. They may be work product of the office, and we are allowed to assert privilege. Mark Pomerantz can't waive the work product of the office. If we did that as part of our attorney work product, which is basically what it sounds, that's a privilege. You can't just go into an office and say, give me, the workup that you did. That's privileged under something separate from attorney-client privilege. It's the attorney's work, and that's not something a defendant or another party can get. And then finally, they say, by the way, he was supposed to tell us before doing this. He didn't. He was supposed to tell us if he's issued any other third-party subpoenas. He didn't. He hasn't told us, and obviously he had this one. So finally, please order him again to inform us if there are any third-party subpoenas out there. And, if Merchan orders it and they don't do it, I think that might in itself be reason to quash any third-party subpoenas. So, Trump is trying to do a number of things here, always including a delay. He might make a few tiny inroads, but most of what he's looking for, Pomerantz said, the subpoenas to Pomerantz, who says he's got nothing. But in any event, this might be his latest hope to try to delay things. But that part of the subpoena, if that's part of his hope, I don't see that hope being realized. So The judge, Judge Merchan, has many reasons to just deny this completely or quash the subpoena, or he could, let a little bit go, and that would give Trump a little evidence to work with at trial, but nothing that would delay things, and nothing that would constitute work product of the DA's office. So nothing, in other words, that would stand to help him very much, especially because it's already been held that whatever Pomerantz might have viewed the merits of the prosecution as being is just not relevant. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.